Beyond the Veil, exploring holistic realms. Journey into the unknown, combining holistic perspectives with the supernatural and delving into the mysteries of life and death experiences with your host, Julia.
Hello and good evening, everyone, to tonight's sixth episode of Beyond the Veil, Exploring Holistic Realms. I am your host, Julia Evans. Thank you, one and all, for attending and listening in for yet another show. As people who have listened in the past, how I do my shows is I kind of do it on the fly. I tend to listen to the shows that I've taped prior or the week prior just to see if there's anything I promised or said that I'd do on the next show. Thanks, Allison, for the sound check. She says it sounds good. Allison and Matt with Cosmos Astrium Radio, where you're hearing me on. Big shout out to them for putting this platform together. So back to what I was saying. I do this kind of on the fly, and the reason why I do that is my third episode, I did try to plan on what I wanted to say and how I wanted to bring forth that episode, because I was doing a celebration of Yule. When I did Yule and I had things all planned out, everything kind of went awry. And when I mean awry, people can go back and look at that episode because I have it on YouTube, my YouTube channel, Julia Evans - The Lily Nurse, and all the episodes that I've done in the past have been placed on there for anybody who wish to watch it or hear it again or see it for the first time. Now, during that episode, the show that normally goes on before me, Brel Ghost, now he's away on his own journey right now for a few weeks in January, so we're missing him before my show. But as that Yule was transpiring, so Yule is that winter solstice, and trying to bring yourself that energy through the darkest time, the darkest night, the shortest day, into that new awakening and that rebirth of lightness, and into those Christmas season, into the newness of winter. But he had asked if he could spill over into my time slot, which I said yes, of course, especially because what we're doing. And my conscious mind at first went on just like normal, and I was talking and taping this, and I find this really interesting because I wasn't actually going to talk about this tonight, but so I talked and I taped what I was talking about, and I started looking around in my broadcasting, because I look at a whole bunch of screens while I'm doing this. Tonight I have 5 screens that I'm looking at, just because I am taking phone calls as well, but it kept going on air, disconnected, on air, disconnected. And it was just like this supernatural realm. Something paranormal was happening within my environment here in my world. And so whatever the viewers were listening to on the other end needed to be heard, or maybe it was cascading a level, perhaps subconsciously I wasn't willing to express what I was feeling or saying on air. Whatever the case, we can scientifically prove things, that there was a misconnection in my server, anything like that. But lots of things happened, and ever since that show, this show has kind of taken an interesting development. And why I say that is because the name of my show, Beyond the Veil. So this show, like my intro says, and if you follow me on Instagram, Facebook, anything like that, Beyond the Veil, Exploring Holistic Realms is about just that, exploring things that are unseen or seen, Some people see them, some people don't. The things that we know or don't know. It's exploring other worlds. It's exploring things that sometimes we feel uncomfortable seeing, saying, experiencing. But I open this platform because I've been to the other side. I had a near-death experience in May 2018. And I've had numerous near-death experiences over the course of the last few years. I did write a book, The Lily Nurse, Rebooted, Rebirth, and Finding a New Path. Now, I want to go back to kind of what happened that third episode. So a lot of interesting things has happened. I ran into some girlfriends of mine at Chapters, and as we were giving each other hugs today, we honored what today is, so January 11th. So for those who understand what I'm going to say, it's a portal that's opened up. So 111, it's a portal. It's about finding yourself and your uniqueness and just opening that up as the cold winter months makes us go into ourselves and go into this learning of what we want to manifest for this new year. 2024 is the year of the dragon. Where's that fire element in your belly? Are you ready to speak your truth? Are you ready to have the luck of the dragon? Are you ready for it? And sometimes when we're not necessarily ready for it, but or consciously ready for it, our subconscious is, and sometimes our universe is pushing us to be ready for that. I'm just going to take a sip of water. For those who are not in Saskatchewan, just so you know, it is so cold here. It was minus 41 today, so it's really dry in my house. I'm going to have to take lots of sips of water today because it's so dry. I got a heater beside me, actually on both sides of me right now because it's so flippin' cold right now. Hopefully this just passes 1 week this week. I think next week it's supposed to get warmer. Anyway, so back to that. So this portal is just about oneness and uniqueness. And so giving hugs to my two friends, my two girlfriends in Indigo or Chapters, and honoring what today is, honoring that it's going to be a new moon. And for those beautiful moon goddesses and gods that out there celebrating that, this is that time of manifestation. This is that time what you want to nurture, what seeds you want to plant. For perhaps it's an abundance or something that you wish for this new year, because this is the first new moon of the year, and it's tied to a very powerful day, and it's the portal, the January portal 11. So the first month, and then 11:11. So it's one step away from that gateway of heaven, which is 11:11. It's like creating that heaven and that peace on earth, and you're able to manifest that. You're able to bring forth that beauty in your life. Sometimes we forget to look around, to look at the beauty that is surrounding us, that there is heaven on this earth. Just like today, it was so cold. I remember waking up this morning and my body was aching just because of that stillness, that harshness in the air. And even though it's so cold and we're forced to stay inside and forced to just take care of ourselves and the elements here, I spent a lot of time outdoors and doing errands and just walking and just standing there and breathing this in, not standing out there for very long without being covered. But man, there's a beauty. There's a beauty in that coldness. There's such a beauty within every aspect of life. And sometimes we just have to look at our environment, look at what we're going through in life, and pick out just those tiny little morsels of beauty. For me today, with everything that's been happening over Christmas and whatnot, and if you've tapped into or listened to previous episodes, you know what I'm talking about. One of my best friends, her son had taken his life, so he had committed suicide Christmas morning, And so we just had the funeral and buried him this past weekend. So dealing with that loss, and just helping people through that, the aftershock of losing somebody like that, the aftershock or the January blues of when it's so cold, forcing you to look within. And when I say look within, it's that when you're stuck inside and there's nowhere else to go, you're kind of forced to look at what you need to change, what you want better in this life, or what you want to keep the same. But today, when I stood outside, there was another veil that dropped for me. And it's been a while where I could just stand outside and breathe it in. Just breathe in this beautiful weather. And I know people are like, I cannot believe you're saying that because it's flippin' cold. Yes, it's flippin' cold. But man, when you can see your breath and look at the crystals, look at what you're expelling. It's almost like that. When you fully breathe in, you can breathe in an experience. You breathe in the emotion. You're breathing in that higher frequencies of life, what you're experiencing, and you hold it for a moment. And when you exhale, you actually get rid of anything that you don't need from the toxins in your body, that CO2, that the emotions, the things that don't serve you anymore. But you can physically see it. You can feel it a little bit sharper in your nose when you breathe in. You can see it. It's almost like this cloud drifting away and expelling from your world. But then there's a glisten in the ground with the snow here in Saskatchewan, that every speck is just, it represents that individualization, that individual snowflake is just like each and every one of us, so unique and so pretty and so sparkling within this world. And all together it has this white canvas, this white sheet of beauty, that anything is possible if we band together, if we separate. And it's interesting to see these snowflakes. So I'm going to revert back to, because I kind of went on like a interesting weird tangent there about snowflakes. That can be another episode, because there is Dr. Emoto. And for those who don't know who Dr. Emoto is, he was a Japanese doctor, and he did a study on water, and how the experiment was three petri dishes or 3 vials of water. One, you put love to it, and you say beautiful things to it, like, oh, look at you, you're so pretty, and you're glowing, you're loved, and spoke wonderful affirmations to it. There was a middle one where nothing was said to it. It was just kind of neutral. And then there was another one that said very, very negative things. And then he took samples of that water and looked underneath a microscope to see if the energy of that water changed. And it sure did. And for those who have not heard of this, please Google Dr. Emoto and the Emoto effect. I know a lot of elementary schools do this experiment. You can do it with plants too, if you don't have a microscope or anything. There's a lot to say when people are gifted that positive affirmation, that love, and that negativity, what the difference is. Now, veering back to that experiment, so Dr. Emoto, when he looked at it underneath the microscope or the water that had the love and the beautiful affirmations to it, it actually grew this almost like a snowflake, and it was this frequency to it and this beauty, and it was stunning. And you can Google it, you can look at the pictures. Feel free to buy the book. Dr. Emoto is now passed, but I'm sure the royalties go to his family if he had one. Anyways, the neutral one didn't change, and then the other, the negative bottle or the negative water, it looked like sludge, and it didn't conceal properly, and it looked hardened. It looked sore. I just want to bring that in people's awareness right now. That not just what you put to others or what people are saying to you, it's what you do to your own body. And I just want you to honor that for a minute. Really breathe what I'm saying in. What are those thoughts? Are they positive thoughts that are going into your head? Is it positive affirmations that you're saying to yourself when you look into that mirror and see yourself in the morning, at night, even like a glimpse of yourself through a store window, and you see yourself? Are you telling yourself, "Oh, you look really pretty today," or "I like your outfit, your hair is just jabbing," anything like that? Or are you finding negative bits about yourself? It's only you that can control your thoughts, and sometimes we can't control it. But just a reminder, no one else in this world can hear those thoughts that are going through your head. But I'm just going to really emphasize this as we're going through this portal. This is such a huge manifestation time about being unique, about that oneness of self. Put those affirmations into even your water. And what I'm going to say, I know, like, I YouTube this. I'm just going to open my water here and just kind of show what I'm doing. And so you can kind of hear I got little ice cubes in there and a straw. But I'm just looking down at my water. When you consume water, you can actually put your intention into water. This is something beyond the veil. This is a very beautiful technique to bring in, like I said last week, the consciousness of water is joy. When you consume more joy into your body, bring it into your stomach. In your stomach, the consciousness of stomach is digesting your world. If you're bringing that joy into your world, it starts expanding into your body, into your bloodstream, into your nervous system, into your urinary tract system, all of this. And this is part of BodyTalk as well. But back to this affirmation of water, just like Dr. Emoto saying it to the little vials of water. Try it. Just try it. Try it for a week. Try it for 2 days. Try it. Talk love to it. You know, like my intention for the water that I've been putting in, is I've been carrying a lot of emotional weight with certain things that have been happening, because I've been trying to hold in a lot of stuff right now. And so my intent for my water lately has been just to allow myself to release and let any of that residual pain go, because I have love within me and my cells need to feel it too. I need to put that oxygen mask onto me. And that's okay to do. That's okay to do. So I'm just going to take a sip of water. One, because it's very dry in here too. Okay, with that said, so I want to go back to what happened a few weeks ago, when everything kind of changed a little bit for me. So during that episode, it was my 3rd episode, and number 3 is very powerful. The power of 3. And I mean, that's going to be a title of one of my books, my 4th book. And yes, I will be bringing out my more books this year. But the power of 3 is just connecting that mind, body, spirit, which creates that soul connection. It's also a technique you can look at, like whatever you throw out into the universe. And I'm saying this for any Wiccans, anybody who does spell work, any kind of rituals like that. Whatever you throw, even if you don't do that, whatever you throw into the world comes back to you threefold, 3 times as strong. Okay, so if you want positive things to come your way, throw that positivity out into that universe. See what happens. Same if you throw negativity, because where energy goes, energy flows. And so if you find, and I just want you to take a moment here and think of different times where you felt really good. You're expelling this positive energy. Positive people start drawing to you, and that negativity almost seems to float away. Same if you're in a really bad mood, somebody peed in your cornflakes. Sorry, an old expression, but waking up on the wrong side of the bed, everything's grumpy. and your day just gets worse and worse because it's that manifestation. So I'm just reminding people of that. But so that third episode, 3 is a very powerful number for me as well, because of when I turned 3 years old. That's when I gained a lot of my mediumship. That's when I really connected to the other side, especially after my mother had passed away when I was 3 years old. But in Western medicine, it's the power of 3 we talk about as well. And some people acknowledge it, and some people talk about it without even consciously knowing that they're talking about it. Like incidences, deaths will go in 3. It goes in 3s, and a lot of us in Western medicine. So for those who is just listening for the first time, because sometimes I forget that people are just tapping on for the first time. I am a registered nurse, have been for a very long time. I'm a certified BodyTalk practitioner. I do mediumship. I do numerous things within my world, because that's how I jive in my world. But through Western medicine, that power of 3, we talk about that third day of recovery for any aspect of life is the most important. And even if we looked at an accident, like if you got into a car accident, it's always that first day is the shock, and the second day is like you're stiff and your body is trying to compensate for what got shifted. Sorry, I'm just looking at one of my screens here. People are messaging me. They're just messaging me pictures of what it looks like outside. But that power of 3, so your body is like shifting that energy and just things that are moving. And then day 3 is when you can breathe it in or not. And that's the most important day, because if you can acknowledge the experience, acknowledge what's happened, start coping with what happened, then you're able to start healing. And I mean, sometimes at day 3, it's too much for us and we push it aside. Even in different cultures, especially after deaths and whatnot, that third month is really important, because it's all that time. It's that power of 3. Anyways, back to that third episode. And I don't know, I'm really kind of veering towards that, because even today when I was talking to my girlfriends, they were congratulating me on this show, and that it sounds really good, and they love what I'm opening up for different modalities for people to listen in on this, look at themselves, what they need for tools in their life, just to even listen to what is out there. You know, there's some girl out there talking about all these crazy little things. Well, some people think it's crazy. Some people, this is what they abide by. This is what they live by. And it's not crazy to us. This is just our life, from watching the feathers that drop and hearing the codes and the frequencies and living a life like that. It's not out of the, it's more normal now that people are opening up. People are using their voice to say, hey, this is what helps me through things. This is who I am and what I do as well. But I'm standing there talking to my girlfriends in Indigo or chapters, and I told them what had happened. Now, I had went in like a normal show and was taping, did my little intro. So thank you, Matt, for creating that for me. I started my broadcast. I did my YouTube channel where I tape it. And then it was connect, disconnect, connect, disconnect. And I had my Bridget's cross. I just looked up at one of them, and that's an Irish tradition, and it's for protection. And it just came flying across the room. There was also other things that was this huge paranormal activity. Now, I went on to Discord, and Discord is through Cosmos Astrium Radio, where you're hearing me live, and you can connect with me through comments on that. And I try to get to all the comments when as I can, or you can phone in as well. And I started saying, can anybody hear me? Now, on the other end of that, I have no idea on the other end. So whatever veil was between me and my listeners, I have no idea what they were listening to on their end. But I was talking about something that was very serious on my end with Western medicine, and when I went for my infusion for my MS. And it took me a week to post those with everything that happened with Yule and Christmas and my girlfriend's son passing. And I put kind of everything off to the side. I go back and listen to these videos, and I know I said that at the beginning of this program or the beginning of this episode. I had stopped the program, rebooted everything, and went on again, and the show went swimmingly. And I talked about like kind of what happened, and then episode 4 I went more in depth kind of what happened during the show and the significance of what happened. And it got brought up again today, and I said I did tape the first half that no one has seen, not even myself. And the reason why I say not even myself, it's taped and it has the time on it, like how long it's running for, and I have that just so I can see that I'm within that hour of my show, and sometimes I do cut it a little bit short. But as I've tried to watch that clip, or that, I think it's about 20-25 minutes, whatever it is, it's pixelated, and it looks like something like took me out of this realm, something pixelated it. And I talked to my girlfriend about this, and she does, now Cora does her own healing modalities, and she works with tarot cards and whatnot, and very many different aspects. She's also a birth doula, midwife. She has so many things under her belt. So as her and a few of my other girlfriends are doing a ceremony tonight, I'm there in their hearts and spiritually. So love you all, my girls. But she said, not everyone is ready to hear everything I'm going to say. With that, the sound just started crackling as you talking about this. Okay, thank you, Chantel. So this is what I'm talking about. My girlfriend had said to me, it's like a code. So there's another realm out there, and this is another veil. And even I don't tap into that veil. And sometimes that spiritual realm will pixelate and pick apart what you're trying to say, because either you're not ready to say it, you're not ready to heal it, hear it, feel it, change it. You're not ready, even though you're starting to talk about it. It's like you're preparing yourself for a big, big change. I'm just making sure everything is going, because apparently this is getting a little scratchy on the other end here. Yes, pixelated. Yeah. So my girlfriend had said it's almost like a code. It's like a code that to go back and listen. So for anybody who's listening, because this is not my realm, and I'm going to start interviewing people. I'm going to actually start next week. I'm going to be in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I'm flying out there next week, and I'm doing my show from Halifax, Nova Scotia. And I'll be doing it with my best friend, who she's a little nervous about it. But we're going to kind of talk about that spiritual realm and how we connected. So I'm really hoping that everything will be working, because it's a 2-hour difference. They're 2 hours ahead of us. So I will be doing it at it'll be the same time here and for you guys, but it's 2 hours difference for me. So I'll have to have a big cup of coffee before I do that one. But there's a code that through this pixelating, I'm just throwing it out there for anyone who is listening, who would like to tap into this, who has a modality or either a tool, an instrument. an editing service, or I don't know if it's called a service, but an editing platform, either a DJ or something like that, to take my voice down and to bring the background music up, because it also happened again my last episode. And my last episode, right when I started talking about my girlfriend's son passing, there's like this static. And last week it was so loud, that spiritual realm, and I was kind of letting it come in. And at the end of my show, I had said one of these shows I'm going to do some mediumship if anybody wants a session or something, and I'm going to bring it through. But I didn't know if anybody could hear what's coming through on the microphone. With that said, I heard it. So if anybody wants to go back and listen to the end part of last week's episode, episode 5 on Beyond the Veil, Exploring Holistic Realms, please do so. Make a comment and see if you can hear that. Like, it's this really unique, almost like somebody is talking in the background of what I'm trying to say. But if anybody knows anybody, because this is not my area, I've looked into it, but I don't study it. So any paranormal activity or teams that would like to listen to it, contact me. You can contact me through any one of my platforms, the Lily Nurse. My online or connection just went dead. Okay, so I'm just checking all my things. So all of my screens and everything is working, but I do have somebody commenting on Discord that their line or connection just went dead. So either we had talked about it last week, because she had contacted me after the show, and we discussed perhaps some of the stuff that I was talking about, her ears weren't ready to hear. So I hope that she comes back, or she'll probably end up messaging me after. With that said, I just want to look at the time, and it was 32 minutes. Okay. There's my 3. Okay, I'm just going to tap in here, just make sure. Okay, I'm just making sure everything's working on that end. Well, they're kind of doing that. I'm just going to take a deep breath as I kind of figure out which direction I want to take this. Because there's a lot on this episode that I wanted to discuss. Okay, she's still alive. I can hear on the website. Okay, perfect. So everything's good there. Okay, back to that. So with that said, I am taking phone calls tonight. I know I've had phone calls in the past. This is through Cosmos Astrium Radio. For those who aren't on Discord or know me via through Facebook or anything like that, you can call me at 306-400-3403. That's local in Saskatchewan, or toll free 1-877-229-5171 option 2. So I'm just holding that out there. So once again, if anybody out there has like an editing thing, I would even do a trade for either a BodyTalk session or something like that, for your services, so I can actually go through some of these, because my conscious mind is very interested in what it's trying to say. Because as I was saying, my last episode, and I'm going to bring this forth, I was talking about the angel that walks the earth. Now, that was one of my paintings, and I did do a reading last week about my mother and what the painting represents, which opened up a segue of a deeper meaning of that. So if you want to hear that, go back to that episode. But what I was talking about was learning of my girlfriend's son, and that spiritual realm was really, really talking to me. And my girlfriend Amanda, who had passed away, it was the first day of spring, 2011. Now Amanda, and I keep bringing her up because she's she's with me so much. And I'm kind of rubbing my head right now because my eye just kind of started twitching. And so when I start getting a little too much data information, my MS, see, my voice is starting to shake. My MS starts twinging, and it actually gives me like different vision through my left eye. Your left side is that feminine side. It is also that past self. There's something in my past that I've been shielding myself, and I created a veil. I created a block because I wasn't ready to hear it. And this past week, I've really been, I'm going to say, forced to recognize it, because my subconscious has been screaming at me, and my conscious mind is, I think, ready to deal with it. So Amanda had come into my awareness because she has passed, and sometimes she is walking this earth still, because there is a mission that she has. There's still a purpose that she didn't fulfill. So my girlfriend, we met first day of nursing school many, many years ago. It probably was 2002, I believe it was. And it was me, another girl named Bonnie, and myself, and we were the three musketeers. There's that power of three again. And we stuck together, and we did everything together. We cried together, we laughed together, we studied our asses off. Nursing is one of the hardest programs. It's actually in the Guinness Book of Records for noted as the hardest, with the exams, the pressure, the journals, the clinical, you don't get sleep for years. And it's the pressures that are put on nurses to get them ready for the real world of having that pressure of somebody's life in their hand, but trying to tap into all these worlds. And why I say worlds like that, it's honoring that nurse's intuition, and the physicians, the patient, and just tying all that big picture together. And it is a lot of pressure. So we all graduated. Now Amanda, she was always called the strong one, because no matter what, that girl pulled us through everything. That girl we would say she's the smartest, because she would work the hardest. And if we were discouraged and we can't do it, she said, like, BS, you guys I cannot swear, I'm trying so hard. You guys get your stuff together, and we got to do this. There was even one time that she sat beside me, and I talked and she typed out one of my journal entries, because I just didn't have any fuel left in me. I wasn't even working on fumes. I had nothing in me, and she helped me through that. So we deemed her the strong one. Bonnie was that charismatic, carefree, had a lot of fun. And to this day, I don't know how she got the grades she did, because she had a lot of fun in college. And then I was the older one, so I was 4 years older, and I had a lot of life experience. And so they called me Mother Hen. And I nurtured these girls, and I took care of them, because these two girls had just finished high school, and they just came off the farm, and they were in the big city. And so I would make suppers for them. I would help them on their path the best way I knew. And the three of us grew such an amazing bond. Now, over the years, those two were there. When my son was born, Amanda was the one who drove me to the hospital. She did my classes with me. People know that as Lamaze classes or prenatal classes. She was there through it all. And we kind of all separated when I moved from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan to Regina. And they finished a year early, because I had to take a year off, because I had my son Titus during exams. And so I took some time off so I could be a mom and make sure that he had the best year that I could offer him, without being bombarded by the stress of school. And so those two graduated, and I was there for their grad, and they were here for mine. We honored each other more ways than one. Now, Bonnie was the first one that the stress of nursing was too much for her. And Amanda and I were called, and she was actually in ICU because she attempted to take her life because the pressure was too much. She worked through whatever she needed to work through, and she got over it. Maybe not fully. But then a few months later, I got a phone call, and it was from Lloyd Minister. And Lloyd Minister, it was the number had said that Amanda had taken her life. Now, I talked about this on other shows, and I'm not trying to say this for everybody to be sad and depressed, and I don't need this to be saved. I just need to say this out loud because of, I don't know, she just keeps popping in and keeps saying, tell the story. So I'm telling the story. But Amanda took her life. She left behind 2 beautiful children, a wonderful husband, but she was being bullied very much at work, and she took her life because of it. She tried to get help in a system that was drowning her, and she couldn't find her light through that. She couldn't find what could bring her to the surface, and she needed to finish her purpose in life on the other side. I just felt her kind of come right beside me here. I got ice cold. I wear her on my wrist, and I wear a word that's called dash. Bonnie and I both have it, and it actually points to each other. And dash was a poem that was read at Amanda's funeral. Her brother Ty had read it, and it's from Linda Ells, and it's about, instead of looking at the day you are born and the day you die, you look at what's really important, and it's that little dash in the middle. It doesn't matter how big, how small, how wide, how important. It's just living your life. You live your life. However you see fit, you live your life. So Bonnie and I had gone to her funeral, and we were just completely destroyed. Destroyed isn't even the word that I can describe how we felt, because she was the strong one, and if the strong one was gone, how could we? It was like watching your child die, to tell you the truth, because I mothered those girls. But Bonnie and I got this tattoo very on a whim. We both had this dream one night, and we're like, that's it. We know exactly what tattoo, dash. And it's on our wrist. And it's almost, that's where people who attempt to commit suicide try to do it right there. That's not why we had it there, but it's a vow to each other that no matter how crappy life gets, how dark things are, we vowed to each other that we would pull ourselves up and out from anything and find the beauty, just like Dr. Emoto finds the beauty in that loving. Find anything in your life, from the taste of your favorite fruit, your favorite tea, your favorite movie, anything that can help you through any kind of darkness. Phone a friend, read your favorite book, anything that you need. It will pass. Nothing in this life is permanent. And I really want to stress that the only thing that's permanent in this life is when you leave. I mean, you can tap in and talk to people, but not everybody can hear you when you're on that spiritual realm. So I'm just getting a few extra comments. I wasn't looking down at those screens. Just some extra pictures and whatnot people are sending me. With that said, Bonnie and I got this tattoo, and that's when I started dreaming about Amanda. Now, over the years, lots of things has happened, from her popping in and out of my life, and with her, it's like this music that comes through, and it's very beautiful. There's more to her story as well. Like I was explaining, man, she just keeps like poking me right now. It's like my back is being so out because it's like she's twisting it. She's like, you got to get this out. You got to get this out. I was telling my daughter about suicide, and when people have suicidal thoughts going in their head, that sometimes they can seem like the happiest person, and they will start saying goodbye in a different way, but really connecting with every single person, and they gift them something so beautiful as a remembrance of them. And as a death doula, I know this from just crossing over naturally from a sickness, or just you crossing over. I've seen this in nursing homes and whatnot, that there is a sequence and a series that happens when you're starting to pass. And you try to gift people the best part of you, so that's what they remember, and that's what they can hold in your heart, and that's what they can hold in their mind, is that, and not the strife and the grief. But then they can remember you, and when they remember you, it keeps your soul alive here on this earth. It keeps the memory of you alive here on earth. So Amanda reached out to me, and it was my first resolution run, long time ago. So it would have been January of 2010, I think, was my first one, or 2011, sorry. And she said she was so proud of me that when all the people in the world to actually start running, she couldn't believe that I could actually run, because I never ran away from anything. I just stood there and took it. You know, I faced everything, but I never ever ran. Metaphorically, anything, but I didn't run. And so she said she was so proud of me, and she said she wanted to run with me. She wanted to, I just got the message. Oh, fuck. Oh my God, I swore. I'm sorry. She wanted to walk the path with me and run for a cause. Wow. Sometimes moments become very real, and when a veil drops, you're like, wow. So Amanda and I registered for the Queen City Marathon, and the Queen City Marathon is Regina's huge marathon. It's in September every year, and Amanda and I are like, we are going to train together. We are going to do this together, because together we can change everything. We can change how we think. We can change our bodies. We can do what we need to do for ourselves first. And sorry, I'm just reading comments. So as we started training, and we would message each other because she lived out of town, she ended up taking her life before we could ever get to that race. Now, I wanted to quit so bad, because I had this guilt that if I would have given her like a magazine, and I talked about this in one of my episodes, you have this survival guilt of like, you don't understand why they took their life, or you don't understand why like things were going so good and just poof, it's gone. Like, why is it gone? And as the minister had said at Will's funeral, so my girlfriend's son's funeral, she said, God doesn't call his people. Sometimes just darkness creeps in, but God is always there with open arms, welcoming them to something that is more beautiful, whatever it needs to be for them. And so when I ran that race, I ran it for her, for myself first, to prove to myself that I could do it. And then at the end, I was running for her because it was 37 degrees out. It was so hot. And they had said at any point during that race, if it's getting too hot, like people could die here. Everyone will get their medal. Don't worry about it. I will stop the race. And as the last stretch of that race, and I was running on a sprained ankle the last 3 miles because I'd tripped, and I kept going because I knew the consciousness of ankle means change. Change is coming. And so the change happened within my right ankle. And so that's your future self. And I ran it. And as I was turning the corner, the street was called Lloyd. And that's her last name. And I paused and I looked at the sign, and it's like she was right beside me and she held my hand and she's like, "You've got this." So if anybody has ever heard me say "you've got this" with my MS or anything, that's actually where it stems from. It stems from Amanda coming forth in that spiritual realm, holding my hand to finish that race, giving me a hug as I crossed that finish line. I ended up doing another race after that, 3 weeks after. There's that power of 3 because I wanted to keep going. I wanted that feeling. If I could run again, maybe I could see her again. Maybe I could. And she appeared and she ran with me again. And through all those races that I did, she would always be there running beside me, cheering me on, saying, "You can do this, you can do this." And then over the years, it's like I lost that part of that interaction with her. I lost that for whatever reason. Maybe it was because, like I said in one of my episodes, I was looking down in life. I couldn't look up. I couldn't hear what was happening around me. I didn't honor that I could do this until after my second book was out and I was in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, writing my second book. And I was in my girlfriend Shannon's house, and that's where my first book was written, at her house in Saskatoon, because I could go to that. And I do have on my YouTube channel, it's called My Safe House. I do have a tiny little video about that house and what it actually means to me. And Amanda had popped through and my tattoo started burning, and it almost felt like it was being engraved or being tattooed again, and it was so painful. And there she just appeared in spirit form, and she wanted me to tell this story. Just starting it out, but I would love to. Oh, people are wanting me to post this. I will post this right after this show on YouTube, and I'll send everybody the links to that. But she wanted me to get this out, and this, I don't think I've ever told anybody this. And as I'm I'm ending this show on kind of like a suspense. But as I was writing my second book, something came over me, and I started writing out these songs, and it was the lettering changed, like the font changed, the color changed, actually changed to red. And I've looked back before, like years ago, I looked back at what the message was, and it was what she wanted to talk about. And she just said, tell the story and tell the truth of what happens to us. And so I'm going to leave that for next week's special. But Monday is a very significant thing because I get to talk to people from Lloyd Minister, the same group that tried to help my girlfriend, and she was didn't survive it. Let's just say that she didn't survive it. And so I get to come into this with an open mind and the knowledge that I know and see, with her right beside me, holding my hand, and this time is going to be different. My name is Julia Evans. I am the Lily Nurse best-selling author of The Lily Nurse Rebooted, Rebirth, and Finding a New Path. That's about the trauma that I had experienced, and not just trauma, but it was my near-death experience. It's the black and white version of what I experienced. And through that, I had an awakening. And through that awakening, I learned so much more about myself. I got to heal because I learned of holistic healing and what that means, what it is to be whole, what it is, to open up those wounds, but to let it just air out. Let your wounds bleed, bleed if need, but breathe. And then they eventually go away. Not as if they were never there, but you get to just cope through it, live through it, and live another chapter, another book. It's almost like another existence. And as I end this, it's just my big four. So if anybody's wondering what I'm talking about, go to last week's special, episode 5, about the big four. And it's about separating from who you thought you were to who you actually are. I want to thank everyone, each and every one of you who hung on and listened to this episode. I will be posting it on YouTube right after. I hope somebody got anything they needed from this, from the affirmations within water, from the portal, from just me being honest with my experience. Whatever you took from this, I hope you got something from this, because I don't do this just to talk. I do this to help people create tools of awareness of themselves, to help them cope through anything, to help veer them into any modality that they're questioning, any questions for me about death, life, and everything in between. Next week, I will be doing this from Halifax, Nova Scotia. You can still call in next week. As it's really cold here, I hope you all stay warm. May you manifest what you need in this life as the new moon approaches. Plant those seeds of what you truly want in this year, because this is the year of 8. 2024, if you add all those numbers, it equals 8. It's about balancing all the things that you need in this world. So I bid you farewell and goodbye, not forever, just for the time being. Remember, we're all here for a reason. Each and one of us are very important. I love you all, and thank you once again for tapping in, for listening, and taking the time out of your busy schedule. Take care, everyone. Love you, and have a good night.